Okay, today is the fourth session, and I just wanted to share some technology tips and tools. Some of this might be basic information that you already have or know, but that might be able to give you a few tips on especially the things that I use as an instructor. Just to remind you that there are three things that instructors do. They plan instruction, they deliver it, and they evaluate. And that's the reason that this series had the sessions that it did. So the first webinar was on how to plan instruction, the second was how to deliver instruction, some tips on that, and then the third one is to how to evaluate performance. And then this one just kind of shows you some of the technology tips that I use in my teaching. So there are three objectives to this fourth series. The first, I want to just share with you some Microsoft Office tips on Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And then I want to talk about some new software tools that you might want to download or use, and then some tips on teaching online. So let's first talk about Microsoft Office and the suite. The first thing that I think is really important is that, and we at the university send students to this website all the time. It's gcflearnfree.org, and it just has all sorts of wonderful technology, free things to teach students how to use technology. And so I'll link to that site. But you'll see that over in the top where it talks about news, these are just some of the webinars that they have. And then the other one that I think is important is the online classes. And so when you click on the online classes, you'll see that they have a Word class. And again, all this is free on how to use Word 2010 or 2013, Excel, Excel formulas, PowerPoint, and Access. So these are, it's just a wonderful website, very well done, and lots of great information. So the next one that I want to show you is that this again is on that website, and these are some of the help kind of webinars or information they have relative to just using computers, basic email, internet basics, how to use the different browsers, Linux, Mac OS, things like online safety, and just some Windows information. But this is the one that I have used quite a few times actually. It has to do with living on the online world, so it talks about the devices, like how to use your Android, your iPad, your iPhone, your mobile devices, digital skills, photos and graphics, and that's been a real important one for me, and then social media, and just so that you start to understand how that might work if you don't currently know it, and then using the iCloud. And I am convinced that's literally where we're headed, is that we're just going to keep everything in the cloud. But that is kind of a out there concept, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with it. But these sessions have really helped a lot to help me understand that. So these are the current things, and some of the information that I'm showing you are from these online courses from GCF. So I just want to emphasize how important and that I think they are and how valuable. So in this, when you click on the Word one, it says there are 3 units on Microsoft Word. It's kind of like basic, intermediate, and advanced. And the first one is just basic manipulation of it, just the simple things that just to get by. And then Unit 2 has to do with a little more advanced things like inserting hyperlinks and pictures and shapes and clip art and those kind of things. And then the third one is more advanced on how to format documents and the kinds of things that are probably at a little higher level, and maybe an instructor may not need to know all of those, but at least you can see that it is in 3 different sessions. So I'm going to bring up a Word file and just show you some things that I think are important that have been helpful to me. So the first one is just basic things. And so many times we just want to create an assignment or a handout or something for the students. And so the first thing is to be able to take and like highlight a section and be able to change the font size. So the font size is up in this part, in this area, and you can just change it to make it larger or smaller. You can also modify the page, the margins, and the orientation, and you do that from page layout. So if you can see up on the ribbon part of the Microsoft Word, if you click on page layout, you can click on margins. And I typically use the 1 inch at the top, bottom, left, and right, but you can change that. Orientation has to do with how the text is oriented on the page. So portrait means that it's just a regular 8.5 by 11. But if you were to click on landscape, it makes the paper long and narrow. So that's I usually use in different ones. Then I'm going to show you different things in a few minutes. But the other one that I tend to use a lot is breaks. And this is where if you want to insert a page break. So if, for example, I wanted to put the insert pictures on the next page, I just go up to breaks and hit page, and now that's on a new page. So that's an example of how you can use the breaks. And that's a very helpful thing when you're trying to format and make your document look nice. The other thing that I use a lot has to do with word art. And so this word art is in the insert page. So let's say that I take the word art and then I go to insert, and you'll see that word art appears over here on the column where it has text boxes and so forth. So I click on word art, and now I can make that text look different. I can bold it, I can fill it, I can do a lot of different things with it. I can even shade it, shadow it. So you can make words that you want to stand out, you can make them look really nice if you use the word art. The other one that I wanted to share is the different fonts and sizes. So if I were to highlight some text and I go up here to my different fonts, and there are just, I don't know, hundreds, probably 50 to 100 of these that come standard. And I always get kind of upset when students do some of the funky ones that kind of make it hard for me to read. But you do need to know that when you're playing with this, it does help to make it so that things might be bolder or look different. That's kind of a nice area. And then when you do size of font, I tend to use 10 to 12 for my handouts, but some students really want bigger fonts, and I don't like to get that because that just means more pages I have to scroll in, but that is kind of important, I think, as you tell students kind of what you would like to have if they are submitting their assignments. The other thing that I do a lot is bold, italics, and underline, so you can highlight text and I can bold it, I can italicize it, I can underline it. Those are all important things that I use a lot. I also can center it. So if I want to center it, I can left justify it. I can do all sorts of different things with it by just doing without having to get away from the page. The next is to insert a text box, and I do this occasionally if I need to insert something on a graph. So again, anytime you need to insert, you insert text box, and then you can pick one, and then you just can type whatever you want into the text box. Okay, and if you decide you don't want it, you just click on the box and delete, and it goes away. Many times I use, and I do use a lot of bullets. I think it's real easy for students to do that. So you just highlight what you want bulleted, and at the top you will see that these are bullets, or you can number them. So if you wanted to number. And you can also change that. So if I were to click on the little arrow beside the bullets, you can see I can make the bullets different things. I don't have to have them have it always be a bullet like what we normally think of, or it can even be a check mark. So that's kind of a nice feature. If you don't like to have just the bullets, you can change that. And the other is to insert shapes. So again, I go up to the taskbar where it says insert, and I can insert, and they're all different kinds of shapes. So I can pick any of these shapes if I want to insert anything like an arrow. So let's say that I want to insert an arrow. All I do is click on it and then click, and there it is. And this little arrow means I can flip it. Oops, I missed it. Here, let me get it. So I can turn it, make it go any way I want. I can pull on these and make it skinny. I can pull on it and make it fat. I can pull on it and make it longer. So you can play with the shapes on any way that you want to. I like to use, one of the things that I like to use when I'm inserting shapes are down here, the little call-outs. So I might do a little call-out, and then I can type something in the call-out, and then it looks like it's part of the dialogue. So again, that's another one that you can use. Okay. The other one is to insert pictures, and again, you go to insert, and you would be hitting pictures. Now, I have brought up a picture, and there's the bulldog, Ferris bulldogs, and so I can, once I click on it, as soon as you click on the picture tools appears up at the top of the bar, and at that point, you can do a lot of things. So format. So I can put the box around it. I can make it put like a border. I can shade it. I can do all sorts of kind of cool things with the bulldog. I can draw a border around the bulldog. I can do an effect on it. Just all sorts of different fun things that you can do with just the formatting of the picture. The one I tend to use a lot is crop, and so when I click on crop, okay, so I'm going to click on my picture, and then I click on crop, and then you start to see these little black lines appear, and so all I have to do is scroll down. Let's say that I only want the, oops, made it small again. Okay, let's say that I only want this part. I just click on it, and I only want the F. Okay, and then I click, and there I only have that piece of the picture. So that's been a really helpful thing for me. The next one and I use a lot is inserting tables. So if I wanted to insert a table, I go up to Insert Table, and then I can do how many rows and columns I want. Now I've already got a table in here, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to highlight it. So this is a table that I created for another class, a class that I teach. And so when I go home, I can go to putting border around it. Oops, I left a column out here to get that in. Okay, so I can put a border around it. And then students then, when I give the assignment, they can type in their answers here. And so when they're doing an assignment, then I know where it is whenever I'm doing a particular, when I'm grading it, I know that everyone's submitting it in the same way, and they can add words into the assignment. So item 14, I'm looking for a certain answer, and so forth. And so I use tables a lot in my teaching and in developing assignments. The other thing you can do is insert page numbers and footers and that kind of thing. So I could go in and I could say insert, and it could be something like a page number. That's a simple one to do. You just go insert page number, and at the bottom or top of the page. So if I want it at the bottom, then it gives me lots of options, and then the page numbers are there, and then you can close it. Or I can put words in if I want a header or a footer. The next thing is a lot of times I do like readings. This is an example of a reading, and so I highlight I bring the text in, and then I highlight the text, and then when I go to page layout, I can do columns. So I can put it in 2 columns, so that makes it look a little easier to read. And I use columns a lot. It kind of compresses the text and makes it look a little nicer, I think. So, and I think it's easier for students to read it. So that's something that you might want to to consider doing something like that when you're doing your assignments. So then when you go to print, you just do File and then Print, and you can hit print and it will print your document. You can do all sorts of different things with it when you print it too. So I hope that was kind of helpful in giving you some tips for doing Microsoft Word. I'm not going to save it. Okay. So now let me move to Excel. If I was told that I could only have one computer program on my computer, hands down, it would be Excel. I use it for everything. I love Excel in the spreadsheet. And there are just some basics that I think are really important content. So I'm just going to show you some things on how I use Excel. The important thing is that you understand the Excel template. So the little kind of round things there, the little bullets are going to tell you that this is what's called the quick access toolbar is at the top. Then there is the name box, and you'll see where that comes in so you know where you are. Then there's the formula bar that you can use. There's columns and there's rows, and this is called the ribbon. And then there's the worksheets, and I'll show you those. I use worksheets a lot. There's the horizontal scroll bar, so you can go back and forth across the spreadsheet. You can do page view at that with that button down here at the bottom, and you can do zoom control. So those are some little tidbits that might be helpful. So let me show you some ways that I use Excel. The most common way that I use Excel is in doing grades. Now, this is something I teach online a lot, and I can download the student data. So in this particular in this particular course, I hope you can see this. I just want to make it so that it's a little bit. I'm trying to see it so you can get the whole thing here. There were 10 assignments in this class, 2 extra credit assignments, and 9 quizzes. Okay, and so one of the things that I always do is I always have to make it pretty. So I go in and I highlight the top row, and I'm just going to color it. So yeah, I click on this little fill button and I can put a color. So I'll do that. I might make it bold to make it look nicer. And this is the students. I changed the names of students. So I have A, Monday, B, Tuesday, C, Wednesday. These are the names of my students. This was semester 1 and semester 2. Assignment 1 was worth 25 points. Assignment 1 is 25 points. Assignment 2 was 30 points. So I can now go into this cell, and the cell, you always know what cell you're in by this box up here. So I'm in cell D3. And to do a formula, you simply do an equal sign. So I do equal sum, and I want to know how many points. So I'm going to do from H3 all the way over to Q3. So that tells me that this student A has 355 points on the 10 assignments. Then I can do equal sum, and I'm going to do on the extra credit, how many extra credit points did the student get, and that's a sum, no extra credit points. Then I'm going to do their quizzes, equal sum, and this person quiz 1 all the way over to quiz 9. And then I can do how many total points. So I can do equal sum, and I can do all of them, either going from H all the way over to AB3. And now I have my formula. Now I can highlight the 4 formulas, and just, you see the little kind of box right there on the end of the 484. I just drag it down, and now it's filled up every cell. Now I also would want to do this for the total points available. So I can copy that, and let me just do that and paste it. Now I know how many total points. There are 600 points total available in this particular, for this particular course. I can then start to analyze the scores. So I can go to assignment 1 and do under column H, average, average. So I'm going to do the average of all of the scores. I can do max. So this would be the highest score. So I could do equal MAX and put the scores of the students. That's the highest, and then I can do the lowest, and that's min, equal min, and all of the students. Okay. So now once I get the first one in, I can then highlight all three of them and drag across. And now I have the statistics on every one of the assignments, if that was helpful, if that's helpful to you. I think that's really a nice feature to be able to do that. And so then, but I keep all the scores in Excel, and I just think that's a helpful way to keep track of all the grades and keep track of whatever the students are doing. The other thing that I sometimes do, and I think this might be helpful for some of you, is I'm going to highlight all the students. Okay, so you can see that I've highlighted from A1 all the way over to AB14. I'm going to copy that, and then I go to a space, a blank space, and I do right mouse click, paste special. And do you see where it says transpose? So I'm going to click transpose. Now what that has done, I'll show you, is, okay, let me wrap text. Okay, what that has done is it has put all of the assignments going down and extra credit, and the students are going across the top. And that's helpful for me to be able to print this. So I can now print each column, and that just makes it a little easier, I think, to be able to print that for students. And so I do a lot of times, I do flip data, and that's one of the nice things that you can do with Excel, is to be able to flip the data when you need to do that. The next thing I'll show you in Excel is and this is your PHCC apprenticeship by year, and this I unprettied it, so it doesn't have all the pretty things. But I want to show you a little trick that I have. All right, so this is A, B's, and C's are the major categories, and 1, 2, and 3 are the tasks. So one of the things when I'm playing with making these things pretty is I insert a row, and I'm going to start here with 1 and 2. Now I'm going to number this entire spreadsheet all the way down. So all I have to do is highlight 1 and 2 and drag. Okay, it's kind of long. Okay. So now I have all of the rows numbered. So now I highlight from A all the way down to 127 there, and I do data, sort, and I'm going to sort on column B. Okay, and I'll show you what happens. All right, so now on column B, I can now take this and highlight it, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to make these shaded. Okay, and now I can now do a sort back on row A, and you'll see what I've done in just a minute if you haven't caught on to what I'm doing. Column A. Now all of the A's and B's are shaded and the tasks are different. So I just think that's a handy little trick to number that first row, and then you can always get it back the way it was originally, and you can play, and it really saves a lot of time. The next one I want to show you are some graphs. And so this is something I do a lot. So let's say that I'm doing a semester, I'm doing some analysis of the students, so I have males and females. So I'm going to highlight the number of males and females in semester 1 and semester 2. So I go to Insert, and you'll see these charts. So if I do the chart, if I do this one, I just click on Chart, and it'll give me options. I click on it, and now I've got a chart. Now I can change the title and say this is gender. You can see the blue are the females and the orange are the males. I can do a lot of add elements to it. I can do a lot of different things. I can insert that into a PowerPoint. So it's that simple to do charts and graphs if you ever need to do those. There's also, I found when I was kind of playing, there's an Excel chart on heat and loss gains, and so you can just kind of Google Excel in your content area. You may find someone who's created some Excel file that you can have your students do some assignments in. So I hope that kind of gives you some new tidbits about working with Excel. Okay, so now let me give you some tips on PowerPoint. PowerPoint is very effective, but I think a lot of times the worst thing that can happen is that you type every word you're going to say on the PowerPoint, and that's just death by PowerPoint. So I think you need to get some basics on it, and again, that website I showed you has some tremendous help on just PowerPoint. The main thing is that you use the tools that are in PowerPoint, and a lot of times I see people that have just inserted text boxes and it looks awful and it's not manageable. So the main thing is to get your placeholders. So I'm going to show you a sample PowerPoint. There it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, so in this case, one of the things that I think is important is that you take the information, and when you want to insert a new slide, you go to New Slide, and when you click, you get all of these options. I can have it, the one that I'm using now is this one. You can see you can have different places there. And so if you don't pick one of these and you just pick a blank, it makes it very difficult to use. And so the other thing that I like to use is that and this is one of the advantages of going to the nice PowerPoint, is that I can right mouse click and where it says Convert to Smart Art. So I click on Convert to Smart Art, and you can see I can now play with that and makes it look a lot nicer. I can do different ones, different things. I can click on various layouts, and you can click on one that might look better. And so it's always fun to play. I spend a lot more time just playing with Smart Art and the different things. Just by all you have to do is type it in once. But if you use text boxes, you can't use that. So I think it's important that you play with it and kind of get a feel for what it looks like. The other part is, again, using the Smart Art, you can do bullets, you can do bulleted, or you can do numbers. And then you can just kind of play around with the formatting. You can insert. Okay, so I'm going to go home and I'm going to insert a new slide, and I'll pick this one. And do you see how it has? You can insert a table, and you have to tell it how many rows and columns you want, and then you have a row and column. Okay, you can. I'll go pick another one. You can insert a graph, a chart from Excel. You can insert Smart Art. You can also do a picture, or you can do a video and sound. So, but again, you have to use the PowerPoint templates. You can't use a blank screen and then have access to these tools. I think that's important. And the last thing I want to show you is the one that I did on transitions. And so this is what's called animations. And so when you go to animations, and you'll see that I have put in animations on this one, it asks you, the first thing you need to do is bring up the animation panel. And this is the one that I had used before, where every time I clicked, the name came up. And you see this is the first click, and then you see it gives you a number 2. That's the second click. The third click was formula bar, and so forth. And so this is how you do it from the animation screen to be able to do those. So this is the information. Now, when you go to print the PowerPoint, the one that I like to use and the one that I've been giving you all is when you go to print the slides. You can do 6 slides to a page, 1 slide to a page, which makes it huge, or you can do, I like the one that has 3 with lines, so students can take notes on the page. So I always like to, I typically use that particular one, the one that you can print, and then you just print it. And you have a lot of control over how it's printed. Now I want to talk about some software and online tools. Probably the most valuable tools I use come from a company called TechSmith. TechSmith is the one that does Snagit, and I use Snagit all the time. I use also Camtasia, which is a PowerPoint recording. So I record my PowerPoints, and then I can put them out on the web for students to view over and over again. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes how I use Jing. Jing is tremendous. It's free. But it's a little video recording where you can record a little thing, but the most we can do is 5 minutes. If you go 5 minutes in one, it's cut you off. So you have to do, but Jing I use a lot when students are asking for some little assistance. Screencast is, again, from this company, and I buy Screencast space on their cloud server because these files become very large, and so I put all of them, when I do a Jing, I store it in Screencast. When I do a Camtasia, I store it in Screencast. Okay, so I think that's important to be able to see these things. The Snagit you do pay for. It's a license of about $49, but it is well worth it. All of the wonderful things that you can do with it. I would strongly encourage you to go, and the search engine that I recommend is Google. So when you click on Google, you can then type in the box. You can do like HVAC and plumbing lessons. So you click on it, and you can then you can go to this might be something that you might be able to see. All right, and then I'm going to. It's not showing, so let me see if I can bring it. I don't know if I can bring it up. Let's see. I wanted to show you Snagit that I can use, so I may have to go. Let me try Snagit. Okay, there it is. So usually it's up there in the in my corner. It's always in my thing. So I click on it, and then I just capture what I want to snag it, and now I can paste that into a PowerPoint. And then I can also, while it's in Snagit, I can do something like draw a line. So I can point to something, okay? And then when I click on it, then that's there. That's like a picture, an image that I can do. So I use Snagit a lot when I'm doing my PowerPoints and when I'm showing students some things. So that might be a helpful tool for you. That's why I wanted to be sure you did that. And so I Google something, I find it. The other thing about Google, and I've got to bring it back up for us. Okay, so let's just say that I do HVAC. Let's just do water heaters. Okay. So do you see where it says web? It's giving me stuff to the web. But one of the best things I use a lot is going to images. So I go to images, and now I just get tons of water heaters. So I can now snag or click on this and download any of these things that I might want to do. So Google Images is tremendous, and so you just click on something, and so then I could pull those into a PowerPoint. Okay. The other one that I use a lot is called Dropbox. Dropbox, you can get I think 2 megs of space free. But a lot of these things that I'm sending around to students are too large for email, and so I upload it to Dropbox, and then I share it with students. So you just download Dropbox, and it's free to download, and then when you go to it, okay, it'll probably take you right to mine. You'll see it in a minute, because it'll probably come up as mine. Okay, so these are my Dropbox. And so here's an enrollment survey data, and these are the people that I have shared that file with. So when they bring their Dropbox up, they see enrollment survey form and they have access to it. So I can share it with different people, whatever I want to share. And so I put a lot of my pictures and photos. That's Adam and Amy are my, that's my son and daughter-in-law, and all the pictures of the kids are in Dropbox. And but that's just a way for me to keep track of all of these kinds of things, and it's a service. I use it so much I have to buy extra space. The other one that I do a lot is Adobe. Adobe Pro is you pay for it. You have to. It's the PDF. It turns a Word file or a document into PDF. The reason that I buy the professional Adobe Pro is because now I can edit it. So I can take a PDF, bring it into Word, and edit it and re-PDF it. One of the things we've learned at the university is you don't put your syllabus and things like that out online in Word, because students can edit that document and say, no, you didn't say this was due on Friday, because they've edited your document. So PDFs, typically, they can't edit unless they have Adobe Pro. Another one that I wanted to show you is I use these a lot, are TED Talks. TED is our little presentations that can't be more than 20 minutes long. So you go to TED Talks, and I'm going to search on HVAC ideas, and these are, oops, didn't have one. Let me just try. I didn't do the word ideas. Let me just do HVAC. Okay. So now you can see here is someone who's talking about building green, and these are little 20-minute things that you might be able to share with students on some new technology or something that's helpful. Another good one is YouTube for schools. YouTube is that video that lots of people make. I use YouTube a lot. There's YouTube EDU, there's YouTube for schools, and I'm going to show you YouTube for teachers. So if I click on that and go to YouTube and I do a search on it's giving me HVAC. It will give me all the YouTube, Becoming a Tech, Fundamentals of HVAC, and these are all little YouTube things. So I think these are very helpful for educators to have YouTube. So there's just tons of stuff out there on YouTube. The other one is Khan Academy. If you're not familiar with Khan Academy, it was this guy who started doing little help things for his niece, I believe, in helping with math. Bill Gates caught on to what he was doing and now funds him. Tremendous. The guy's wealthy now. But it is just everything about little snippets on how to do, especially math and science and all sorts of things. So you just go there and you can sign up and get access to a lot of these, his material. So he has math, science, computers, and you just click on, so for example, if I were to go arithmetic and pre-algebra, there are just little lessons on basic addition, numbers, one digit. You see all of these topics, and it's all free and available, and it just keeps getting better and better. We strongly encourage teachers to use this. There's also iTunes. If you're not familiar with iTunes, download it to your computer. And when you go to iTunes U, iTunes University, this is where you bring the classroom. You have to have iTunes, and when you go to resources, it gives you all the information on iTunes U in the classroom, how to use it, and I'll show you some materials that you can get off of it, from iTunes. So this is from iTunes University. These are podcasts on HVAC. There also are, here are some plumbing iTunes video things. Some of them are free, some of them cost. So again, you have to have an iTunes account to be able to buy the ones that aren't free. So I think that's very helpful too. Now I want to spend a little time on online tools. I teach a lot of online. And the one that we use at the university and that PHCC uses is Blackboard. Another project I'm working on that goes across multiple schools, we're using Moodle because Moodle is free. And so there are some platforms that are free. Blackboard is a very expensive tool. It's probably more sophisticated, but I have been very impressed with Moodle. The Moodle one that I'm using with this other project, we're developing lessons where the students do lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then they stop, and then they go do labs 1 to 4, and then they go back and do lesson 5, and then they come in and do labs 5 to 7, and so forth. So this is a flipped classroom that we're using the Moodle for, and it's working very, very well. I'm going to log into my Blackboard and show you some things on how I use Blackboard. So I'm actually going to the university. I teach at Ferris State, so I'll go to my FSU. I'm having to log in to my actual Ferris account, hopefully. There we are. Okay. And I'm actually logging in like I would normally, or like the students would do, and then Blackboard is there, so I go to Blackboard. And all of the courses that I have come up, so I'm just going to pick one of these. I think I'll pick this one. Okay. Okay. So this is a course that I teach, and I'll show you how I organize my content online. I have a place for the syllabus and the explanation. And then the class has 12 tasks. So each one of these folders has, so there's number 1, number 2, number 3, and so forth. There are 12 tasks that the students are required to do throughout the semester. So when I click on number 1, because there are 12 tasks, there are 12 assignments, and there are 12 quizzes. And so and here's all the extra information that they have. But remember that little jing thing that I was telling you about? I wanted to show you the powerful part of jing. This is a little short video where I explain the homework assignment. So students can just watch this little video, and I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so I click on that. You see it's going to screencast. And I click, this is what the students can do, and then they click on that. When you access homework number 1, you will find that homework number 1 has just traditional items where you type your answer. Okay. So do you see those? That's exactly how I use that little jing thing, to be able to have little excerpts of things that students would go into. I can then go, and when it's time to grade, I can grade the grade center. That's where assignments come in, and I can grade it. I can send emails and all different things to students. So this is the Blackboard and how I use it in my classes. There also are others. You know, Moodle is probably the most commonly used free online platform, but there are others if you wanted to investigate some of the ones that are free. PHCC does have Blackboard, and this is, I don't know if this is current. This was several years ago that I got access to this, but they have HVAC 101, 401, Plumbing 101, 201, and so forth. And this is what their screen was looking like. This was, again, several years ago. If you're interested in what they have, you need to be working with PHCC. But when you do an online class, you get to set it up how you want. Do you want to include blogs, collaboration, discussion boards? And you just click on the ones you want, and then these are the ones that students have access to. I have not been very successful with discussion boards. Discussion boards are where you post a question and students have to respond. So this week's question is, how do you fix a water heater? And students then, each one says something. Well, what I have found is that a lot of students will say, one student will make a good response, and then the rest of them say, I agree with Joe. And so you don't get good discussion. So I have been pretty frustrated with discussion boards, but a lot of times when students can use collaboration tools such as that to help each other, and they can send a question to the whole class, and then students can respond to each other on that, and that's a helpful tool. But it is, I think it's very difficult to get discussion a lot of times going in classes, and then but that also means you're constantly monitoring who's saying what. And we have some professors at the university that say that you have to respond to 2 discussions, and so and Blackboard does count how many times you responded. So I can go in and see that everyone responded to 2 or more of the discussions, kind of the thread of a discussion that's going on. So I hope I've given you some good tidbits. I've enjoyed doing this, and please feel free to contact me if you want more information or need me to work with you on any of the things that I've presented. I'd be glad to do that.